Hello and welcome, I'm Peasant, and today I'm going to be playing with Keeper in a zero difficulty run, an over-explained run, so let's just jump right in. So I'm going to try and make it as beginner-friendly as possible. Let's see how well that goes. Okay, we have a opening explore in the mountains, and we are now into our first growth phase. So, there's this new feature they've added, which is interesting. It tells you what's going to happen this turn. Pretty cool. I probably won't use it. Anyway, we have this build to deal with here, and as keepers, not actually a lot we can do about this unless we get lucky with our first power card draw. Now, the key to the early game with Keeper is getting this ability unlocked. Now, this costs 3 energy that you need in your growth phase. So the early game is a bit weird. You're kind of holding back so that you've got the energy to use this, because this is how you accelerate into, this part where you've got loads of plays, loads of energy, and you are a behemoth. Let's gain a power card first. So the elements we're really looking for are fire, day, or sun even, and greenery. So Shadows of the Burning Forest does have the fire on it. Now the reason we want fire is for this Punish Those Who Trespass ability that is super powerful. It's a 0 ranger, so you need to be in with the invaders to do it, but it's a lot of free damage essentially if you've got the fire. In your start hand, you've actually only got 1 card with fire on it, Towering Wrath, and you're not going to want to use that much early on, whereas getting fire from something like this is good. Another thing to bear in mind when picking a minor power with this spirit is that he's kind of broken the early game if you are trying to go for getting this 4th growth option as often as possible. So things that cost 0 are that bit more valuable, and that's part of the reason is that typically if you have 2 energy at the start of in your growth phase, you can go with this one, gain an energy, then you've got the 3 energy to do this 4th option here. However, if you have the 3 energy, you can do this one first, which is superior. The reasoning being that this can go 3 range anywhere without blight, whereas on this one you're restricted to a land with your wilds or with a wilds or your presence. So having 3 is even better than having 2, but we'll see if that pans out. We will see. And here's something interesting as well. Shadows of the Burning Forest is going to have immediate utility, because if we place... actually, we're not going to be able to place presence in there. Ignore me on that one. But it does have the fire, it has the greenery, and it's lovely stuff. So I'm going to go with Shadows of the Burning Forest. It's actually also one of my favourite cards for the art. You can see these little dudes in there. Okay, so the second of my growth options is going to be this option here. And it doesn't actually make much odds. Well, actually it does. You go for the sun. And because we are Keeper, we've created a Sacred Site, and we now push our Dahan. Push Dahan from this area. So I think what I'm actually going to do is set up for a messy counterattack. And what this means is that if we let this this interior mountain, if this build happens, there'll be an explorer in a town, and then on the Ravage, there'll be an explorer in a town attacking here. And that will kill a Dahan, but they'll fight back and clear the land. There will be a blight placed, but that land will then be kind of sorted for now. So I quite like this as a thing, because it means you can then kind of focus on building your strength everywhere else anyway. So we're going to go, I think, with Boon of Growing Power, and that's going to give me the second sun and the greenery I need to have Spreading Wilds, because I've only got 2 energy here, so I actually really need the to place a wilderness token somewhere to expand. Because I don't have the energy to do this growth option first, I have to do this one first. So I guess I could place an additional one in that start and then place one miles away, but it's not ideal, because we like Sacred Sites for our Towering Wrath, because depending on how many Sacred Sites, that's how much damage you're doing. Okay, so we're just going to go with the Boon of Growing Power first. So it is a bit of a slow start compared to a lot of spirits. So the coastal build was prevented by the disease token, which is now gone. And we've got a Ravage this turn, and I'm quite happy to just let that land take a blight and then get cleared by the Dahan counterattacking. So going to do Bone of Growing Power. And as we're mostly broke at the start of the game, going to go with a minor power. And in fact, we've got 2 Ravages that are happening this turn. And we've got the coastal mountain as well as the interior mountain. Now, we have... This is a card that will solve the immediate problem of a blight going down on this interior land. It's a defend 4, and it has the fire and sun that we like. So this is pretty good for us. Razor Sharp Undergrowth is a pretty cool card, but it doesn't have the fire that we like. Drought is a minor power that thinks it's a major power. Again, it's got fire and sun, so this is a pretty good card. Pretty good card for us, because it's quite easy for us to get this threshold. And destroying a city with a minor power is OP. But I like this ambushes, because what it'll do is it'll give us some defend here, prevent the blight going down there, which is nice. And it's not restricted by blight like some of our other stuff. The other nice thing with defend cards and keeper is that if we make a sacred site somewhere, we push Dahan from that land, which means we can actually set up for kind of useful defense. So I'm going to go with elusive ambushes here. So that'll be played next turn to deal with the ravage next turn. And then we've got spreading wilds. So I'm going to play that in here. Yeah. So I could have played that in here, and in some ways it'd be more ideal to place in here, because then I could have a sacred site in here. Actually, except there's a blight there. Which would have more adjacencies. Yeah, this still works. We're kind of letting this one go. The coast is pretty clear. Okay, so we're going to go with that. And we want to go to 2 plays and 4 energy. Almost certainly. Almost certainly. I can't be like fully certain. I'll be almost certain. Okay, so we've gone up to 3 energy now, and you can see what I was talking about with just being a bit broke at the start. And you always gain your power first, because it might influence where you place your presence. Okay, so lots of slows. Purifying Flame is pretty good. It's got the fire, it's got the sun, and the green. In fact, those are perfect elements for our punish, for our get off my lawn ability. And it helps deal with mountain and sand. Our start card, Regrowth from Roots, is a jungle wetland. So, I mean, this is a perfect element. It does cost. It costs energy, which is a bit of a downer, honestly. It's a downer, man. But these elements are straight up perfect. And we already have invaders in with our presence. So I think this is really good. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think we go with this. I mean, yeah, I think you could have made a good call for lots of those others. So we're going to go elusive ambushes to defend in here for the defend 4. And this we're letting go. And of course, and we could even regrow from roots, except we're not adjacent. I have played this game before. I promise you this. I have. I've played it several times. There is a build here. Is there anything useful we can do about that? So yeah, looking at this way, it does feel like going this route actually is... for the sake of destroying an extra explorer in here, this might have been better to go this route. Just from the point of view, we could clear the blight from here and then expand into here. I think it's still going to be okay. Yeah, that's no good. Because we want to have at least 2 energy at the start of our turn. 3 energy is is even better. So maybe we go Shadows of the Burning Forest here. It's a bit of a nothing turn. Well, I say that. It's going to clear a land. It's still it's an acceptable turn. Okay, so we're going to use Elusive Ambush in here to defend 4. Then there's the Mountain Ravage. So Blight on the coast, defended, and then counterattacked in there. Then a jungle build. And so the nice thing is that we can actually push these Dahan into here and do a very similar thing next turn. But that would require reclaiming this. Not ideal. Not ideal at all. Okay, so this isn't actually going to do anything, but 2 fear is a lot of fear, so we'll take that. Thank you. Not bad for 0 cost. And so yeah, let's prevent a build in here. That's clearly the thing that makes most sense. And I think I'm going to push this explorer into this area here. Am I going to do that? The trouble, if I do that, I'm then basically fully committing to elusive ambushes next turn. Or am I? I could just let that go. But it is a cascade. Probably don't want to let a cascade go. How much I love playing with a blighted island on 0 difficulty. It's not ideal, actually, to reclaim this early. But I think we've made enough progress elsewhere that it's fine, he says. Try to make a beginner-friendly video, and it's just like full of vagaries. I think I am going to reclaim. Now, often with a lot of spirits, reclaiming is absolutely horrible. But with these spirits that have a kind of a pick 2 kind of growth setup, it's generally nowhere near as punishing. We can still make, we can still place a presence and do this. So it's still good. Yeah, I think I'm going to commit to this early reclaim. Except it doesn't work, peasant. Because I've got to actually make a sacred site in here to push them in there. Never mind. Okay, do I actually have a way of making this work? Well, I will be gaining a power card. I might be able to gain something useful. There are actually quite a lot of cards that would deal with this problem. Yeah. Okay, here we go. No, these aren't those cards, unfortunately. These really aren't those cards. So we're going to have a Blight Cascade. No, it doesn't. We're still going to win. Don't worry. Don't worry, gentle reader. We're still going to win. There's the confidence. Confidence without competence. It's a winning combo. Okay, so looking at this elements-wise, this has the fire on that we like and the sun that we like. So this is, on an elements point of view, is pretty good. It's also, if you can move to harm, that can be super powerful for setting up your defense, especially as we already have a pretty decent... I mean, it's not a perfect defend card, but it's good enough. So I think I'm going to go Call to Bloodshed here. I actually can use it this turn to destroy the town that gets built in that coastal desert. So I think that's what I'm going to pick. Oh, except if I make a sacred site in here, there won't be Dahan in there anymore. But that's okay. So I'm just not going to make a sacred site in there. But I will use this opportunity to place a presence in there. Yeah, so I'm going to place a presence in here. And let's go... Do we want to go plays or energy? Now, bear in mind, we still want to have 2 energy left over at the end of the turn. So if we play something like Call and then maybe Purifying Flame... We don't have a 0 cost card we can play in with that. I'm going to go top track then, and so we've got more energy. I'm going to place this one in here, and then I'm going to go with this, so prioritizing the presence placement. And I don't want to push these out from here, given that I'm going to use Call to Bloodshed this turn. So it's a slow power, so it will happen after the build, destroy the town. But getting this plant actually is going to really help get the punish those who stand on my chrysanthemum's ability. So we're going to deliberately not make a sacred site in there. We're going to Call to Bloodshed to deal with this town that gets built this turn. This ravage, I'm just letting it go. I've just, I've accepted it. And we've got 5 energy here, so yeah, we've got punish those who trespass, and we have a perfect land for it here. This singular town is perfect punish fodder. I mean, Regrowth from Roots is also reasonable, especially as that we're going to have a blighted island this turn. And we have this beast command beasts business going on. It probably actually makes sense to use that. Let's push this beast somewhere where it might be useful. So I'm going to put it on the coast. Actually, no, I'm going to put it in with this blight here. So I know there isn't a blight there just yet, but I'm going to overflow the blight into this area. And that was my only fast ability. So I'll put the blight in there. And we've got downward spiral. That is just fine and dandy. We have plenty of presence we can destroy. And coastal build. So this is all, it is kind of working out roughly how we want. Oh, and I actually didn't even factor in that I had Purifying Flame. Crikey, peasant. Okay, so I'm going to use Call to Bloodshed in here to do 2 damage. Destroy the town. So now next turn we're going to have a single Explorer against Dahan. And without events in play that come in with Branch of Claw, that is just fine. There's nothing to worry about there. I think. With events, all of a sudden, this kind of business becomes a bit more risky. Let's punish these guys in here. And we've got some Spreading Wilds to do. So we can prevent this build here with Spreading Wilds. This is kind of the ideal single Explorer, and then you get to push it away. And you notice here that on Spreading Wilds, it's actually push an Explorer per 2 sun you have. So rarely do you ever get to push more than one. Have I ever pushed more than one? My entire life. Okay, so I'm going to push this guy, obviously not into the wetland, because it's then going to build next turn, because we're in the slow phase. So I'm going to push it just into one of these. They've both got blight in. So that's not that ideal. I'm actually going to push it in here. And the reasoning there being that if I was to say put an unrest token on this city here, then actually, do we even have unrest? We should have unrest. Then what that will mean is that this whole land will only deal 1 damage, right? So that's what you want. Whereas if there were 2 explorers in there, then if I took care of this city somehow, then it would still be a threat of placing blight in the ravage phase. Okay, so we're back to growth. This ravage is fine. This ravage is fine. No builds. So we know that wetlands come up. So these here are going to be any of the other land types or coastal lands. And because we've cleared a chunk of interior, we're looking reasonable. In fact, what we could do here, there's a small chance we might be able to finish it this turn. Can we finish it this turn with what we have in our hand? Maybe. No, don't think so. Because what we can do is we can place 2 presents this turn, like 1 here and 1 in here. And then we can Towering Wrath for 4 damage. And we could use that to basically clear this land. And by placing 2 presents, we could get up to 3 actions. We don't have anything that useful for Sacrosanct Wilderness. I suppose we could place a wilds in here, but it's very expensive. But it does mean that we've basically, most of the map is inaccessible to invaders. We've got enough energy now that we might want to think about going into major powers. But if we're going to go Towering Wrath this turn in this land here with the 2 sacred sites, I actually think we probably want to go with a minor power, because that's costing 3. We're going to have 9 though. Yeah, I think that's probably what I'm going to do. Okay. Oh, Peasant's Favourite, Gift of Constancy. It's just one of my favourite cards. It's not that useful for us, I don't think. Because we're about to become OP, so not super useful. It basically means you can retain a card that you've played that turn. So for some spirits, super handy, like Lightning Swift Strike, and all sorts of spirits that have lots of plays but not much energy. So no fire here. This is a defend card. Yeah, nothing feels super relevant here. Defend cards are still always super valuable, in my humble opinion. But I think this is largely an irrelevant decision, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. So we don't really need extra plays right now. So I think I'm going to keep on going with energy. So going to make a... Oh. Damn it. I've made a sacred site in here, which is going to mean that that these Dahan don't clear this land. But it's still fine. It's still fine. Because the main thing is that they don't build a building. Because the building... And I just made an arbitrary... I just put them in here instead of in here. I couldn't tell you why. I suppose because I'm going to... let's just do some backwards justification. I'm going to Towering Wrath in here this turn. And these Dahan can help with this in a future turn. And so we're going to place another... actually, I'm going to place it here because next turn, if we reclaim, which we probably will, then I'm going to be able to get up to 3 actions, which is going to be ideal. Okay, so we're going to Towering Wrath. And... I mean, we've got so much energy that this isn't a complete waste of time. Regrowth from roots actually isn't going to qualitatively improve our situation because this 2 blight area will still have a blight on it. So I'm going to go with Sacrosanct and to place a wilderness token in here. The benefit of that being that if there's an explorer from here and it's a mountain, they just won't place in there. So we're just kind of cordoning off a large section of the board. And I didn't even factor in that it's going to push my Dahan around. Because I use this very rarely. Okay, Downward Spiral. We have this irrelevant presence in the interior. Okay, so Dahan are doing a damage to explorers. Let's do a damage to this explorer here. No builds because the wetlands are empty. Okay. So a sand explorer. Okay, so we can now clear this land in here. Alternatively, we could prevent this build in here. Also have some spreading wild, so we can replace this. Now we know that there's not going to be a desert because this is a 2 card, and we've already had our desert stage 2 card. So, but I think it's still reasonable. I noticed that we can't prevent this build with this because it's the 2 explorers. So we could destroy this. We could use Towering Wrath in here to prevent the build, or we could do this in here. It's swings and roundabouts, really. Swings and roundabouts. And we've got Punish Shoot Those Who Trespass. This ability, it just always feels like an extra to me. It's like, oh wow, I've got this as well. Okay, we've also murdered our Dahan in there. That feels unfortunate. So let's put a wilderness. Yeah, actually, let's just put it in there. Okay, we're back to growth, and I mean, there's no ravage this turn. There's no build this turn. There's just this here. So if we just need to destroy this city to win effectively. I think. Yeah, because we need... Oh, no. We actually need to destroy the Explorer as well. Outrageous. What's a way that we can do that this year? Well, okay. We can just reclaim, and we can just use, say, Call to Bloodshed and Towering Wrath. That should do it. And if we might even be able to do it with some style by gaining a major power. This might be overkill, but we can actually afford it. So let's just do it. Who doesn't love overkill? I guess people that are getting overkilled, maybe. I'm not such a fan. Okay. Okay, Downward Spiral again. We've got irrelevant light over there. We have fear cards that do nothing, a ravage, a build that do nothing, an explore. Huh. Well, that's a fly in the ointment. But what I can... Oh, so it's not actually going to end now. Oh, yes, it is. Well, there you go. That was a victory. It was a 0 difficulty run. I managed to blight the island, though, which is going to please a lot of people. Thanks so much for watching. If you like the video, like the video. And, yeah, subscribe. This is a exclusively Spirit Island channel. So, they're not going to get other stuff on here. Just good old-fashioned Spirit Island. Like Grandma used to make. So, yeah, thanks so much for being here. And Catch you next time.